On a bright, sunny afternoon in Los Angeles, the city streets buzzed with luxury cars, tourists and business people rushing to their appointments. Amid the hustle, a sleek black SUV suddenly coughed and rolled to a stop on a quiet residential street. The driver, a woman in her early 30s named Olivia Brooks, frowned in frustration. She was a self-made billionaire, used to having every problem solved instantly, but now she was stranded with her precious daughter, Lily, an 8-year-old girl born with a rare disability that had left her unable to walk. Olivia tried the engine again, but it refused to start. Lily, seated in her electric wheelchair, looked up at her mother with wide, innocent eyes. Her small hands rested on the joystick, waiting for movement that wouldn't come. She had always been cautious in public, aware that people often stared at her wheelchair. Today, however, she was curious about the world outside the SUV, her gaze shifting from passing trees to the houses lining the street. Olivia's frustration quickly turned into concern. She glanced at her watch, worried they might be late for Lily's therapy session, but deep down she knew it was impossible without a working wheelchair. Across the street, a small auto shop named Miller's Garage caught Olivia's attention. The shop was unassuming, with faded red letters and a few rusted cars parked outside. Standing on the cracked pavement was Ethan Cole, a 32-year-old mechanic with grease-stained hands and a worn-out blue jumpsuit. Ethan noticed the SUV struggling and instinctively stepped forward. He had a natural curiosity about cars, but there was something about the little girl in the wheelchair that drew his attention. She seemed both fragile and strong at the same time, her eyes filled with curiosity despite her disability. Olivia stepped out of the SUV, her high heels clicking against the pavement, her designer dress immaculate despite the sudden breakdown. She tried to hide her discomfort as she approached Ethan. "Excuse me," she said politely. "My car won't start and we're in a bit of a rush." Ethan smiled warmly, wiping his hands on a rag. "I can take a look. Might be a quick fix," he said. His gaze instinctively shifted toward Lily. "And that wheelchair, does it need some attention too?" Olivia hesitated. She was used to specialists, but something about his genuine tone made her nod silently. Ethan crouched down next to Lily's wheelchair, examining the joystick and the wiring with careful precision. "Hi there, I'm Ethan. What's your name?" he asked, gently. Lily's face lit up with a shy smile. "I'm Lily," she whispered. Ethan chuckled softly, making a funny face that made her giggle. Olivia couldn't believe it. Her daughter, usually reserved and cautious, was laughing. A mix of relief and gratitude washed over her. She realized that in this small mechanic she might have found someone who truly cared, not just about machines, but about the people who relied on them. Inside the garage, Ethan moved Lily's wheelchair to a clean workbench. He tested the controls carefully, pressing buttons and checking connections. "The control module seems a bit fried," he explained, looking up at Olivia. "It's something that could leave her stuck if not fixed soon." Olivia felt her heart tighten. Doctors had previously told her that no repair could restore full functionality to the wheelchair's sophisticated systems. And yet, here was a mechanic, an ordinary man, not a high-end specialist, working calmly, confidently, and with evident determination to help her daughter. As Ethan worked, Lily watched every movement, fascinated by the tiny tools and wires. Olivia observed silently, noticing the meticulous care Ethan took with each adjustment. She had spent thousands on specialized equipment, yet this man, with his modest tools and humble workshop, seemed to approach the task with a sense of purpose and empathy she had never encountered before. Each time Lily laughed or tried to interact with him, Ethan responded with patience and warmth, as if her happiness mattered as much as the machinery he was repairing. 2 hours passed, filled with quiet concentration, soft laughter, and the occasional beep of testing equipment. Olivia felt a mix of anxiety and hope. Ethan finally stepped back, smiling as he wiped his hands. "All right, Lily, give it a try," he said. Lily hesitated, then gripped the joystick. To everyone's amazement, the wheelchair responded perfectly, moving smoothly forward, backward, and turning with ease. She let out a squeal of delight and spun in a small circle, laughing uncontrollably. Olivia's eyes welled up with tears, emotion overwhelming her. Olivia rushed forward, kneeling beside Lily and hugging her tightly. "You did it! You actually did it!" she exclaimed, tears streaming down her face. Ethan shook his head modestly. "I just did my job. She's the one who's amazing," he said with a soft smile. Olivia could hardly speak, her gratitude too deep for words. For the first time in months, she felt genuine relief and hope for her daughter's mobility. In that small garage on a quiet Los Angeles street, a simple act of kindness had blossomed into something extraordinary. By the time they left the garage, Lily's wheelchair functioned flawlessly, and her laughter filled the street. Olivia handed Ethan a card, her hands trembling. "I want you to have this. Call me tomorrow," she said, trying to maintain her composure. Ethan accepted it with humility, nodding. Watching them drive away, he felt an unfamiliar warmth in his chest. In helping an 8-year-old girl regain her freedom, he realized that sometimes true miracles didn't come from wealth or fame. They came from simple acts of skill, patience, and kindness. Ethan carefully maneuvered Lily's wheelchair onto a clean workbench in his modest garage, his hands moving with practiced precision. He inspected the joystick controls, tracing tiny wires and connectors, noting the irregularities that had caused the earlier malfunction. Olivia hovered nearby, her anxiety mixing with awe. She had seen countless specialists dismiss her daughter's wheelchair as beyond repair, yet here was a mechanic working with unwavering focus, determined to restore functionality. Lily, curious and wide-eyed, watched every movement, occasionally touching a wire or leaning closer. Ethan smiled, encouraging her interest, knowing that the girl's engagement mattered just as much as the repair itself. He began testing the wheelchair's microprocessor, carefully reading error codes and checking each circuit. "Some of these components are fried beyond repair," he murmured, his voice calm but focused. He retrieved spare parts from a nearby shelf, salvaging small electronic pieces from older equipment. Olivia observed silently, marveling at his resourcefulness. While wealthy people often relied on expensive replacements, Ethan's skill lay in ingenuity. He soldered tiny wires, replaced damaged modules, and adjusted sensors with meticulous care, treating each task like a delicate surgery. Lily's fingers hovered over the joystick, her eyes wide with anticipation and curiosity, as if she could feel the energy of the repair. Time passed quickly, filled with the quiet sounds of the garage, the hum of a soldering iron, the occasional beep from testing devices, and Lily's soft giggles. When Ethan made funny faces to lighten the tension, Olivia tried to stay calm, yet her excitement bubbled beneath the surface. She remembered how difficult it had been to find someone trustworthy, someone patient enough to care for her daughter's needs. Watching Ethan interact with Lily, she realized that his kindness went far beyond technical skill. He treated her daughter not as a project, but as a child deserving of attention, joy, and care. Ethan carefully adjusted the joystick's sensor alignment, testing responses repeatedly. "Almost there," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. Lily's excitement grew, her small hands tapping on the edge of the wheelchair. Olivia stood back, holding her breath. This moment, which had started as a simple breakdown on a city street, had transformed into a delicate operation where hope hung in the balance. Every tiny movement Ethan made seemed crucial. The air in the garage was thick with anticipation, yet calm, as if the world outside had faded, leaving only the mechanic, the girl, and the possibility of a miracle. After an hour of intense focus, Ethan wiped his hands on a rag and looked at Olivia. "We're close," he said softly. He explained that the wheelchair's central processing unit had multiple micro-errors that could cause intermittent failures. The joystick sensor needed precise calibration to respond accurately to Lily's inputs. Olivia listened intently, trying to understand the technical details, but mostly she focused on the way Ethan's hands moved confidently, the way he reassured Lily when she asked questions, and the way he maintained patience despite the complexity of the task. It was clear to her that this man was extraordinary. Finally, Ethan connected the final wires, adjusted the programming, and called to Lily. "All right, Princess, try it now." Lily gripped the joystick nervously. The wheelchair responded immediately, moving forward then backward, turning smoothly in all directions. Her face lit up with uncontainable joy. She spun in a small circle, laughing and clapping. Olivia felt tears prick her eyes, a mix of relief, happiness, and gratitude overwhelming her. She had spent years trying to find solutions for her daughter, often facing disappointment. But now, in this small garage, a miracle had occurred, and it was delivered with skill, care, and love. Ethan smiled at Lily's delight, kneeling beside her to observe every movement. "See, you're doing amazing," he said encouragingly. Lily giggled, her laughter echoing through the garage. Olivia couldn't contain herself. She stepped closer and hugged her daughter tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe it," she whispered. "No one said this would be possible." Ethan waved off, the praise, his humility evident. "I just fixed what was broken. She's the one doing the amazing part," he replied. The small act of kindness, the patience, and the skill had created an unforgettable moment, one that would stay with them all forever. Olivia insisted on paying Ethan, offering a generous amount far beyond what the work warranted, but he refused politely. "Your daughter's happiness is payment enough," he said with a smile. Olivia, moved by his integrity, handed him a card anyway. "Call me tomorrow," she urged, her voice still trembling. "I want to offer you something meaningful." Ethan nodded, touched but composed. He watched as Lily drove her wheelchair freely around the garage, the smooth movement a testament to his effort. For the first time, Olivia witnessed her daughter's independence restored, if only in part, and the joy on Lily's face filled her heart completely. As the afternoon sunlight streamed into the garage, Lily's laughter continued, and Olivia captured photos on her phone. Ethan stood back, observing silently, feeling a warmth he hadn't known in years. Helping someone didn't always come with recognition, but this moment made him realize the depth of satisfaction that genuine kindness and skill could bring. He had changed a life today, but in return, his own life felt brighter, fuller. Outside Los Angeles continued its busy rhythm, but inside Miller's garage, a small miracle had unfolded, one that would forever be etched in the memories of those involved. Finally, with everything in perfect working order, Olivia and Lily prepared to leave. Olivia hugged Ethan one last time, unable to stop her tears. "You gave my daughter her freedom back," she said. Lily leaned forward from her wheelchair, wrapping her small arms around Ethan's waist. "Thank you, Ethan. You're my hero." Ethan chuckled, a little embarrassed by the praise. "Just promise me you keep smiling," he said. As they drove away, Ethan felt an unexpected sense of purpose. That day he realized that sometimes helping someone in need could create miracles far greater than anyone could imagine. The following morning, Olivia woke up with a sense of excitement she hadn't felt in years. She glanced at Lily, who was already maneuvering her wheelchair around the wee apartment with newfound confidence. The joy on her daughter's face lit up the room. Olivia knew that she had witnessed something extraordinary the previous day at Miller's garage. Ethan's skill and patience had given Lily more than just a repaired wheelchair. He had restored a part of her independence and happiness. Olivia couldn't help but smile, reflecting on how a simple act of kindness could create ripples that affected everyone involved. Meanwhile, Ethan arrived at his small garage. Unaware that Olivia had already tried to contact him, he checked the messages on his phone and saw a call from an unknown number. Curiosity piqued, he answered hesitantly. "Ethan, it's Olivia Brooks," the voice on the other end said warmly. "I wanted to thank you again, and I also have something important to discuss." Ethan listened carefully, heart pounding slightly. It wasn't often that someone of Olivia's stature reached out personally. He adjusted his greasy jumpsuit and replied with humility, "I'm glad Lily is doing well. How can I help?" Olivia explained that she had been so impressed with his work and his integrity that she wanted to offer him a new opportunity, a chance to work on specialized equipment for her charity, which provided medical assistance to disabled children across Los Angeles. Ethan paused, overwhelmed. He had never imagined that helping one child could lead to such a meaningful opportunity. His garage had always been small, a humble operation to make ends meet, but now he felt that his life might be on the cusp of something far greater, a chance to make a wider impact. Later that day, Olivia and Lily visited Ethan at the garage, carrying a small box of gifts and a warm lunch. Lily rolled up beside Ethan, her face radiant. "Look, Ethan! I can go faster now," she exclaimed, demonstrating smooth turns and swift movement. Ethan laughed, genuinely delighted by her excitement. Olivia handed him the gifts and said, "This is a small token of appreciation, but I also want to discuss our charity project in person." Ethan accepted them politely, feeling both nervous and proud. He had fixed wheelchairs before, but he had never imagined that his work could touch lives on this scale. As the afternoon sunlight streamed through the garage windows, Olivia detailed her vision for the charity. She wanted to provide advanced wheelchairs and mobility devices to children who, like Lily, had been told that nothing could help them. Ethan listened intently, asking questions about the specifications, the challenges, and the logistics. He realized that his expertise could significantly impact these children's lives. Olivia noticed the spark in his eyes, the same determination she had seen the day before while he worked on Lily's wheelchair. This was more than a collaboration. It was the beginning of a meaningful partnership. Over the next several weeks, Ethan became deeply involved in the charity project. He traveled to hospitals, met with engineers, and even trained volunteers on wheelchair maintenance. Lily often accompanied him, curious and eager to learn about the devices that had transformed her mobility. Olivia watched with pride as Ethan interacted with the children, patiently explaining every function, every adjustment, and every feature. She realized that sometimes heroes came in unexpected forms, not in suits and boardrooms, but in humble garages with greasy hands and kind hearts, willing to devote their time and energy for the betterment of others. One particular day, Ethan demonstrated a newly designed wheelchair to a group of children. The device was lightweight, maneuverable, and responsive to the smallest movements. The children's laughter filled the room as they tested their new mobility. Lily beamed, proud that Ethan had created something that could help her friends as well. Olivia observed silently, tears welling in her eyes. She had never imagined that a simple roadside breakdown would lead to such a profound transformation in both her daughter's life and the lives of countless other children. Ethan's dedication had become a beacon of hope for them all. As the charity grew, Ethan gained recognition for his work, but he remained humble. He always credited the children's resilience, Olivia's vision, and the small acts of kindness that had inspired him. Lily, now more confident than ever, often accompanied him to events, proudly showing off her fully functional wheelchair. Olivia frequently posted updates on social media, highlighting the stories of children whose lives had been improved by Ethan's expertise. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and the small garage that had once been a quiet corner of Los Angeles became a hub of innovation, hope, and compassion. In a quiet moment one afternoon, Olivia approached Ethan and said, "You didn't just fix a wheelchair. You changed lives, mine, Lily's, and countless others. I can never thank you enough." Ethan smiled, slightly embarrassed by the praise. "I just did what anyone should do," he said modestly. Olivia shook her head, her eyes glistening. "No, Ethan, you went beyond what anyone expected. You didn't just repair, you gave hope." Lily rolled up and hugged him tightly. "You're my hero, Ethan. I love you." The warmth of the moment enveloped the garage, a testament to the bonds forged through kindness and dedication. As the sun set over Los Angeles, Ethan stood outside his garage, watching the city lights flicker. He reflected on the journey that had started with a simple car, breakdown on a quiet street. A moment of compassion, skill, and patience had led to miracles: Lily's newfound mobility, the smiles of other children, and a partnership that would continue to grow. He realized that life's most meaningful moments often came unexpectedly, wrapped in challenges that demanded courage, care, and dedication. That day, Ethan felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that one act of kindness had created ripples far beyond his imagination.